Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, tonight we are looking at chatting to a managing director of a very important company that is hosting a business seminar. Now, we are going to be chatting to Taher, who is actually the managing director of 0 Point Energy. Now, they are hosting a business seminar on the 21st of November at the Killarney Country Club. Now, the event is all about future proofing in terms of buildings as well, making sure that they have sustainable energy solutions and technology for the future. So we are going to be chatting to him right now on the show. Assalamu alaikum, Mohammed. Thanks for joining us here on INX Prime Live.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
It's a pleasure having you. I want to get straight into this conversation. Before we talk about the seminar, though, I know a lot of people are very excited for it and a lot of people I know RSVP'd for it. But let's talk about your business in particular. It is called 0 Point Energy. What does your company do?
Sure. So 0 Point Energy is a company that I co-founded in 2015. And the focus of it has been in the sustainable energy space from the angle of being a consulting engineering and a turnkey construction services provider. Largely over the last 9 years, as you would imagine, the focus of our business has really been in the solar and battery energy storage space, primarily to assist clients to reduce their electricity bills and more recently to curb the load shedding crisis that has hit the country. So over the last 9 years, the majority of our clients have been corporates, commercial and industrial customers, body corporates for residential complexes, industrial, and also agri-sector clients. So that's largely the space we've been playing and executing across the country and fulfilling that role in assisting clients, to best manage the load shedding crisis.
Yeah, and it sounds really great, and it sounds like you guys got in at the right time, especially when load shedding became a lot more worse over the last few years in that sense.
Yeah, I think fortunately, we were in the right space in the right time. The team had the ability to grow and hone their skills and expertise over a number of years before the rapid requirement for load shedding solutions hit. So we were in the right space at the right time and managed to capitalize and assist a lot of clients.
So that's brilliant. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the comments and questions coming in from social media as well. People are very excited for the seminar, so we're going to get straight into just chatting more about that. We know that it's all about future-proofing buildings. So in other words, it's sustainable energy technology and funding solutions as well. It is happening on the 21st of November at the Killarney Country Club. Maybe perhaps you can run us through some of the topics and themes that are going to be present on the day.
Sure. So, the context of this came up because, being professionals in the sustainable energy space, we have a lot of clientele, future and existing clients, other professional service professionals in our networks. And there's always these, burning questions that come up when there's hot topics in the media relating to sustainable energy. And we felt the best way to answer this and, to answer these questions that have been asked is to create a platform that, addresses these questions and gives an opportunity for there to be a collaborative and a networking event amongst our peers, with the public, with other energy service professionals, future and existing clients of ours. And that was the thinking behind my events coordinator, Farah, and myself, where we decided to let's host this event, and bring in expertise, bring in speakers who are knowledgeable in those specific areas. And that's where we decided to bring in 6 speakers to talk on specific elements of the sustainable energy space. Some of the topics include solar power and battery energy storage solutions in a post-load shedding South Africa, which I think is a very pertinent thing. That's a topic that I will be talking about based on our experience in the industry and the sector. Then we're also going to address topics such as energy metering. That's another thing that comes up. What you can't measure, you can't manage. And, there's a lot of intelligent energy metering solutions out there. So we have Faisal Hussein from a company called Agile Digital who's going to be talking about that. Thirdly, there's something around energy performance certificates, another hot topic in the media that we have an expert, Divaksha Maharaj, who's going to be speaking that from Ikigai Engineering. Then the last technology-related topic that we're going to talk about is going to be around the topic of carbon credits. Another hot topic that globally is a big thing that's trending. You're able to offset your carbon and your carbon dioxide savings by using carbon credits. And that's something that hasn't really been explored locally, but there's a potential to really monetize your carbon credits. So we have Ridwan Mayat, who's from a company called Decarb Energy, who's going to be the expert talking about that. Then the last two speakers that we have is related to the funding side, just as important as the technology itself. You know, with a lot of this type of technology, the capex or the upfront capital requirements is quite high. And, you know, for people to be able to really capitalize on this, they need to have funding solutions. So we have Rafiq Ismail from a company called Camco, which is a UK-based renewable energy funder. And they have very innovative funding solutions for clients in South Africa. And he's going to be talking about that. Lastly, we have one of our partners from ABSA, the bank, where it's going to be somebody, Rashveer Manilal, who's going to be talking about your conventional funding solutions for renewable energy assets. And Zinat Khan from ABSA is going to be there to bring about the Islamic Sharia funding angle to that discussion as well.
I mean, that sounds incredible. It sounds like a really great list of speakers as well. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited to go through the different topics. You spoke about one of them, though, and you spoke about EPCs. And, you know, obviously it's something that is catching it's trending a lot of people are speaking about it. But you mentioned mandatory EPCs as a discussion in terms of, you know, the seminars that are taking place. Maybe perhaps you can share with us what are some of the impact that you could see or will actually happen when commercial and, you know, all these different companies have to then, you know, adhere to this EPCs in place. What could you possibly see happening in the future?
Sure. So, you know, there's a lot of these acronyms and it can be confusing for people. But in a nutshell, think about, you know, you get these energy ratings on your appliances, like your fridges and microwave, that tell you how energy efficient appliance is. So it's exactly the same concept, but just think that it's applicable to whole buildings. So, you know, each building is going to be needed to have an energy performance certificate that displays its energy consumption. Now, the alarming thing is that not a lot of people in the commercial and industrial space know and are aware of this. And this is something that the government, through the National Energy Act, is planning on making mandatory for a list of certain buildings and you know, premises in South Africa to have displayed. So, you know, we've received a lot of queries from people in the public sector as well as from professionals asking about this. And we felt, you know, it's really important that we have someone who can address this topic so that, you know, that impact can be fully understood and appreciated, and it's something that we make more publicly aware. So I think that topic definitely around the EPCs is going to be something, you know, as a business owner or as a building owner, it's something to sit up and really think about and think how best we can manage this and apply it so that, you know, you meet the requirements that government is asking from building owners.
And I mean, just talking about business people and business owners, I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are also listening in, because one of the questions that came in was to do with, you know, because you're an expert as well in this space, what are some of the most promising energy solutions that are coming out or technologies that are coming out? And how do you think that's going to actually impact the space more in a commercial and industrial standpoint?
Yeah, look, I think solar power is definitely something that's here to stay. You know, over the last 5 to 6 years in South Africa, of course, it's you know, rapidly grown. But there's technologies within that space that are really exciting globally. And, you know, whether it's more looking at different types of solar technology, you know, substrates where the panels are more flexible, they're more translucent, you can integrate them more into different building materials. I think that's an exciting space that's going to come up, where we're not just looking at solar panels sitting on roofs, but they're integrated into all our windows, they're integrated into our buildings. You know, look at more energy efficiency in the technology, so you can draw more power and energy out of those. That's definitely something to look out for. The same applies to battery storage. You know, battery storage, we know commonly now in lithium-ion battery technology. That's the prominent one now, but there's many other exciting chemical-based battery technologies out there. And the aim is to get them as cheap as possible, to get them as small as possible, and as ubiquitous, you know, where they as widely available and deployed. And the last component, I think, is if you're looking at the synergies and the rise of electric vehicles globally. You know, in South Africa, you've seen a lot of the rise of the Chinese internal combustion engine cars that are hitting the roads now. I think in a few years, you're going to see that rapid increase in EVs, electric vehicles, also from the Chinese. And, you know, there's a lot of synergies and management technologies across the batteries between solar storage and EVs. So that space is very exciting, and there's a lot that's going to be happening, and we hope to be in the forefront of that and be involved in that space.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very exciting time as well. But before we do let you go, I just wanted to chat about EVs in particular. A lot of people are still speaking about it in South Africa, but also globally as well. We saw some countries, putting out policy to say that by a certain, date, they're going to stop allowing normal vehicles to be manufactured, and now only allowing EVs to be, moved on into the space. What do you think is going to be the rollout like in South Africa over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so on that particular one, I think you need a government to understand the infrastructure planning around EVs. I think we not that far away from knowing the pain of load shedding and not having the right infrastructure in place. So I think it would be short-sighted to look at a massive rollout of EVs if your electricity supply infrastructure is not considered in sync with the growth of EVs. So solar power and battery storage will go a long way to mitigate some of that risk around not having electricity to power these EVs. But at the same time, you can't depend only on that. You have to think about the charging infrastructure, getting the public perception change that EVs are not something to worry about the range anxiety and not having ability to charge cars. So it will come. I think that storm is already out there globally, and it's inevitable that it's going to happen in South Africa. The question is just when and how best we are going to manage that rollout.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting but also exciting time ahead. But yeah, Mohammed, thank you so much again for joining us tonight. It was very insightful.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, guys. That is Mohammed Taher Khan, who is actually the managing director of 0 Point Energy, just telling us about a very important seminar that is going to be hosted on the 21st of November at the Killarney Country Club. If you guys are business people in the space of renewable energy or anything in terms of solar energy, make sure that you do get into contact with them and make sure that you book your seat so that you can attend this incredible event in that sense. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.